to Ms. Hogan. Welcome back to our committee and to your team. I know how hard you work. Just off the bat, Ms. Hogan, what is your security clearance level?
I'm top secret.
And has that security clearance level ever stopped you from producing the amazing reports that you provide and highlighting the important issues that you provide to our country?
Yes, it would. It would restrict what I could put in a public report. Yes.
And what kind of restrictions are those? Does that stop you from highlighting important issues?
So no, it doesn't stop me from highlighting important issues, but it stops me from providing maybe the level of detail that some members of parliament would perhaps prefer, because I do have to protect information that should not be in the public domain.
Why is that? Why do you have to protect that information?
So having a security clearance is a privilege, and things are classified either because they could harm an individual or they could harm the national interest. So there's sort of two levels, and it is my responsibility as a public servant to respect that and not to bring unnecessary harm either to the country, our national interests, or to a Canadian citizen.
I appreciate that, but just to confirm, your security clearance level does not stop you from doing the work that your office is designed to do as an independent office, correct?
Correct. Not everyone in my organization has top secret. Not everyone needs that level of security. And so we do ensure that when that kind of information is part of an audit, that those who have the appropriate security clearance are only allowed to view it. And we do so in a very secure fashion. But it doesn't stop me from doing my work. It impacts what I can publicly report.
Thank you. So just on that, now your office has the ability to provide evidence to the RCMP in the case of any criminality. Is that correct?
In order to do so, the established mechanism that we have with the RCMP is that a production order is provided. We do have some informal and general conversations before that might happen, but that is typically the course of action.
So as of July 25th, the RCMP had confirmed that they hadn't received any request or any such order from your office. Is that also correct?
So the order comes the other way. The RCMP sends me a production order if they want information, but we have, as I mentioned earlier, have a good working relationship with the RCMP, and we do let them know when we're embarking on work and when our work is going to be made public, unless we feel it necessary to refer something to them before the report is made public. But that happens in rare instances. We usually speak to them after our report is public if we feel they should be involved.
Right. And so you do understand that the RCMP has recently started an investigation on SDTC. Now, do you find it appropriate or inappropriate for Parliament to now get involved, especially opposition parties, to get involved within what is now an active investigation conducted by the RCMP with your collaboration, if requested by the RCMP?
So I think it would be wrong of me to comment on the will of Parliament and its actions. What I can tell you is that we as recently, I believe as today, spoke with the RCMP and reiterated our willingness to cooperate, and that we would follow our usual mechanism, which is that if information was needed, a production order would be sent to my office.
Thank you. I'm just going to turn quickly to your recommendations. Now, we've heard from that current transition board that they've implemented 11 out of 12 of your recommendations, which I think is pretty good news. They're currently implementing your final recommendation, which is a project review. Can you speak to the rationale behind this recommendation? I mean, couldn't the board have just worked off of your findings rather than doing their own review? And what do you think would be the purpose of such a project review?
So I do want to highlight that that was the one recommendation where the foundation only partially agreed, but from testimony from some of the current board members, and I believe that the audit team has been having conversations with some of the board members as well, they intend to fully carry out the recommendation. Why it was important was because that we did statistical sampling for a few of the funding streams, which means that we looked at a sample and found that there were clearly some organizations that were ineligible, but with statistical sampling, you then can sort of extrapolate that to the whole population. And as we mentioned in the report, we believe that there is approximately 16 other funding organizations that might have been ineligible, and it is up to management to do that kind of level of detailed work, file by file, to determine ineligibility, which is why we made that recommendation, and we feel it's important. If an organization has received funding that it was ineligible for, I would expect that the government would recover those funds, and if they do not have plans to do that, they should be transparent and open with Canadians about their plans.
Et voilà, merci beaucoup. Suivant.